In this demonstration, we'll be looking at the parent view of Involved School Portal with a focus on the calendar functionality. I've logged in as a parent, and on my home screen I can see here are the children that I have at the school. I can dive into each one of these children to see their calendar and the further details. I'll do that in a moment. But before I do that, you'll see we've got the sync calendar functionality here as well. So if, for example, I want my children's calendars on my Outlook or my Google, I can just choose the relevant option and then I can get that all synced up. So once that's synced, when I'm using my Google or Outlook, I can then see their calendars directly there and those are kept up to date. So too with the school calendar, I can sync the school calendar through with my Outlook or Google. If I now go into one of my children, so here I've clicked on Ben Abbott and now I'm seeing his profile. The first thing to see is on the timeline. The timeline shows a sequential listing of events that Ben is involved in. And I can filter that really easily. So for example, if I just want to see the curricular activities, I click on my pod list and choose curricular. That will then filter only to the curricular views. Or so too, if I'm clicking on, for example, music, I can then see the music view here as well, just for Ben. I can also have a look to see, for example, I just want to see the messages in sequential order. So clicking on messages for Ben, I can then open up any of these messages that's all sequentially shown. So that's on the timeline view. If I go into the calendar view, here I can see a few options available to me. So this is a more standard view of the calendar. You typically will have a 5-day view of that calendar. I've got 7 days. If you want to switch it to either way, you simply select that drop down to give the appropriate showing of the days. I can also zoom in if needed, so going a slightly bigger or smaller into that calendar to see the details, and also choose the week simply by navigating back and forth. Similar to what we saw in the timeline where everything is presented through, everything is clickable. So over here, for example, I'm going to click on Ben's piano lesson. And on clicking on that, I can see a back and forth conversation that I'm having with the teacher. So that's all clearly available within the calendar function, and I can reply to the note, which will then be, the teacher will get notified of that message, and we can communicate back and forth that way. So everything very clearly laid out. Click on the details to see things like messages, attachments, etc. We'll have other videos to cover other parts of the functionality. I'm thinking that another area that probably will be good to be aware of when it comes to calendars will be that, for example, of the being able to report absences. So to report an absence, simply going to my schools menu, and I click on the report absence area here, where I can select my child, and after selecting the child, I'll be taken through a couple more steps where I will then be notifying the school of that absence on the particular days. So that will be a useful, easy way to report absences to the school.